No, we're just going to redo that one. It's a blooper.
Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, July 18th. Would everyone, Mr. Knox, would you lead us in the Pledge of the Flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Please be advised that in accordance with the presidential proclamation issued Friday as a mark of respect for the victims of the attack perpetrated on July 14th, 2016 in Nice, France, and as ordered by Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker, the United States flag and Commonwealth flag should be flown at half-staff at all state buildings beginning immediately until sunset Tuesday, July 19th, 2016. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Okay, we have a special meeting tonight with a short agenda that just got a little bit shorter. First up at 7:30, we have a new estate road reconstruction change order for a water main replacement. And then immediately following that discussion is originally intended to be the preliminary goal setting for the Board of Selectmen for 2017. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we are missing two of our members, so we won't actually set our goals tonight. We need a full board to do that, but we will have a little bit of a discussion around the goals and then end early. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dig into the first order of business, which is the change order and the water main replacement on New Estate. All right, so who wants to take us through?
Can I just add something at the beginning? It's since I live on New Estate Road, I believe there's no conflict if you happen to live on a road that's under construction. This is the first time anything's come up since I lived there, but I intend not to say much anyway.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Think about that. It's just us then. Okay.
Okay, so this item is on your agenda tonight largely because we had an issue come up on June 30th. We tried to see if we could put it in a form that we could bring it to the selectmen for your meeting, for the meeting we had last Monday. We needed some more time with it, and we're planning to bring it to you next Monday at a regular meeting, but we're the opportunity to bring a change order forward so that this New Estate Road project can continue. We are happy to bring it here tonight, and it's a change order requesting that an additional $195,000 be added to the construction contract for reconstruction of New Estate Road, for replacement of about 1,300 feet of asbestos cement water line and other related work and additional paving mobilization. We've got folks from Highway and from the engineering firm that are here tonight. I'd ask that you just briefly walk us through what happened and what we're recommending. I will say, though, that that the Highway and our engineers met with the Water Department as well, where the issue is basically it's 60 to 70-year-old pipe that fractured in a couple of places, and so while those fractures were fixed and the pipe is operational now, the question is, what's the right thing to do before we bury, while we've got the street open, what's the right thing to do? And it was universal that the right thing to do is replace the pipe. And so that's what we're proposing to do here for the future. We've also engaged the Water Department in what will be a continuing discussion, and that will need to involve our boards as well. What is that the right thing to do for many of our future road projects may as well be to replace the pipe, and we're looking at where that's appropriate. And so we're looking at Nagog Hill Road, same type of pipe, same age, same condition. So while that road is being reconstructed, we will want to deal with water line replacement. The larger policy issue is, well, how do you pay for it? And the simple answer is that there's no Water Department appropriation to pay for replacement of water lines on major roads. There's no borrowing authority that the water department has. Only the town has that, only, the highway department through the actions that we brought to town meeting has that money. Moreover, that the fee structure that the water department has, while it's been putting aside additional money and building up a balance much more recently than we've had in the past, there are other priorities that the water department is looking at, including, water quality issues, water, looking at to make sure that there's adequate fire flow in the system. So there are a number of competing demands on the limited water revenues. And that really shows the importance of there being a high-level policy discussion between this board and the Light and Water Board, and the Finance Committee about what's the right way to fund these projects. What we're putting on the radar screen today is the fact that we've got a particular pipe where there's, and the engineers can tell us what might happen if you just cover it up and walk away, that it could still fail. There are any number of circumstances, and so while we have the opportunity, while the road is open and not completed, we have the opportunity to do the right thing and replace the water line. So I defer, whether Jim wants to start, or Eric, or Tom, or...
We looked at the water pipe before we started the construction and talked to the water department, and the area hadn't really had any issues for the length of time. The material that it's in is pretty good, so usually that's good, but between the gas company and the drainage installation and the manipulation of the soil up there, that type of pipe is prone to failure at the age that it's in. So we did have 2 water main breaks, and we put a lot of effort into what's the right choice. As Keith said, we could cover it and never have a problem, but more than likely we will. We would have liked to replace it in the beginning, but at that time funding wasn't there and no one was really interested. So I'm glad that in the future we really need to look at that.
Yeah,
See if
and
that's-
bake that into the funding
Yeah,
up front.
because,
Yeah.
I heard you say it earlier, we're still looking for more money, and, this is gonna take away from the road projects to do that, but we can't not work on the roads that have cement water main and just say, well, they have cement water main, let's go do something else. We need to address it.
Jim, can you tell me where this starts and where it ends? Is it gonna be the whole road, or is there only one section of the road that has to be?
No, it's from the Air Road end, it runs about 1,300 feet, basically to the top of the hill, and then it switches to cast iron pipe.
Oh, all right.
And then the cast iron is okay. It's older, cast iron is older pipe, but
Cast iron.
Off
You're all set.
No, that's why I wanted to know, why are we replacing only 1,300 feet? I thought maybe the whole road was that same kind of pipe.
no, it changes pipe type.
Any comments from your side?
I think Jim and Keith have both done a great job of summarizing the problems. Basically, this happened right before they were going to pave the road, a day before it was scheduled to pave. So we kind of had a meeting of the minds out in the field and decided best to not pave over these 2 locations where we've had the water main breaks. The pipe is, as stated, at least 60 to 70 years old. They haven't installed AC pipe since the 70s. And a lot of towns are seeing issues with AC pipe when they do these roadway reconstruction projects, or even without doing these roadway reconstruction projects. So it certainly would be prudent to replace it at this time, as Keith said, before we go and cover it all up with new asphalt. So.
We did have, we talked to our current contractor, and he works with another company that they can line the cement main with a different product. And the company was able to give him a price reasonably fast, but it was like more money. It's a little bit easier process, but in the end, we wouldn't get as good a product, and they were able to get us those prices fairly fast, and they're working with us, and their prices are well within the range that they should be. They're not trying to gouge us because they know, I mean, we need to get it done and they want to move the project along as well.
Okay, so, first of all, thank you all for your work in that. I know that was a crisis situation, all hands on deck at an unexpected time of nights or day, or I don't remember, it was a crazy time, so thank you, and thank you for putting the effort into making a recommendation. I mean, for me, 67 years old, let's do the right thing here and replace it. Funding's another conversation, but board members, any thoughts, questions that you?
I just have one other thing that probably doesn't deal with this. At the other end of the road, on the King Street side, that one end is closest to the cemetery that's been blocked off for a long time, and you had an enormous hole there for a long time, and it looks like there's pipes sticking out of the ground right now. Can you give us an update of what's going on there?
So those pipes that are sticking out of the ground are inspection ports. What we have under there is called a infiltration system. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're these large yellow arches. So stormwater flows into those arches that are buried below grade and will infiltrate into the ground. And those pipes that are sticking out of there are inspection ports so that they can clean out and inspect those over time. That work will be completed by the contractor. Those will be cut to the finished grade. That will all be grass in the end over that area, behind those Jersey barriers that they have there.
I was just wondering what that.
The road's not gonna fork anymore, but then.
Sure.
That's correct.
No, that's,
So Keith, talk to us about money. So how does this work now?
Well, we have borrowing through the, and actually Bonnie was crunching some numbers, but for the whole road project, but whispered to me on the way out that we have the money to cover this from the combination of Chapter 90 money that we have access to, operating budget monies that are in the highway department, and borrowing authority. So between those, we have enough to cover the amount of this change order.
Okay.
We have an agenda item next week on the capital, on the roadway improvement plan per se. There will very likely need to be some adjustments that are made in funding overall for road projects.
Yeah.
That it's a huge amount of money for this one, it's a huge amount for the next one, maybe a couple of years before we can take on another road, based on our existing revenue streams. Not to prejudge the outcome, because I know there's lots of things that you might spend the money on, but that there's $450,000 or thereabouts in virtually all of the snow and ice money that we put aside will be available for spending at the fall town meeting. Because we assume we might need to raise $450,000 in a deficit. Bonnie thinks there's probably almost none of that will need to be raised, so it's available for capital projects. Too soon to say what that might be. Maybe it goes on a capital stabilization fund, maybe, but it just as easily might be something that you need to do in order to keep up with the road projects. So we'll be looking at the need to either pump some more money in, or to slow up the rate that we take on new road projects.
So to that end, FinCom, any comments on this one or questions?
Well, I mean, it's common sense that that particular pipe needs to be replaced. I mean, in terms of the financing, FinCom actually had a discussion, we didn't vote or do anything formal, but we'd had the discussion before about on the years where we have snow and ice money left over, that really should be going to the highway department anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's where it would have gone, and so that's a good way to feed a little bit more money in there. So in this case, but you can't count on that year to year.
Right, no, yeah.
But in terms of this year, is that a good way to go after it? It probably is. But-
Okay.
Well, and you've got $2.5 million in capital stabilization, but, if you really needed to, you could go get some of that.
Okay.
So I think the right thing to do is to, when you've got the road torn up, take care of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And I think any major road repair that we're doing, we should be asking the question, what's underground, and is that the time to take care of it? So I'm applaud you guys coming forward with the issue, and let's get it solved.
That is one of those governance issues that we talked about an hour ago, that, we want to make sure the light and water and the selectmen and FinCom are on the same page about how we fund it all. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Otherwise, we're doing a change order to fix a water pipe.
But it really is impressive, especially if you were ready to pay, because that would have been an easy time to say, oh man, if we'd had this 2 weeks ago would have been one thing, but now let's just go, not bring it up.
No,
So
I
it really
was
is
on
impressive that
vacation and I
people did
got an
it.
email from Jim saying, we know we're gonna get criticized if we just move on, so let's stop, think, calculate, and then come to the board, so.
Good job.
Okay, we're all on the same page? Oh, sorry, Jay.
Jerry Opioid, New State Road, just a couple of comments. I'm surprised the water department didn't look at replacing that main back when National Grid did the gas line. I mean, you've got ancient pipe and $2.7 million worth of road. The other thing on the asbestos cement is there any health hazard concern as the pipe ages with material flaking off and putting low levels of asbestos into the water supply?
I don't know. I don't know if there's been studies conducted. There's
Yeah.
millions of miles of asbestos
Oh, I
cement pipe
know.
in the country. Asbestos was the wonder material back in the 60s and
Right, and
50s.
I know today you need a hazmat team to deal with
Correct.
a square inch of the stuff, so.
Correct, right. Kind of on that topic, the pipe will be abandoned in place and filled with a very flowable mixture of concrete to
Bind it
eliminate
up.
the need to remove the pipes.
Great, I was wondering how they were gonna get rid of it, because that gets spendy.
Yeah.
That's good.
What are they gonna put, plastic in it?
It'll be ductile iron pipe. Yep, cement line ductile iron pipe,
That's
which is
what-
the standard pipe.
Great, and that's like 60, 70-year life, or?
I would say at least, yeah.
Great.
Okay, very good. Any issues, then we can make a motion. I guess maybe Mr. Knox, you can make it.
Move the Board of Selectmen vote to approve a change order to the construction contract with Onyx Corporation of Acton, Mass. for the New State Road Reconstruction Project in the amount of $195,828.03 for replacement of existing 1,290-foot asbestos cement water line and other related work and additional paving mobilization.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Really,
guys.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. Preliminary goal setting here. All right, so we can't do our actual goal setting, but maybe we can do some
You want one?
prep work. Oh, yeah.
Got one of those.
Oh.
I asked
I think
Jennifer
I might
to
need
make copies
one.
of the memo I sent to you.
They're 2 pages each, so that's one set.
1, 2,
Just pass one down to Keith, too.
Oh, good, your email, perfect.
Keith.
Keith.
And then I cut and pasted each of the bulleted items into this
Matrix.
matrix, so the subject matter should be.
Okay. So, what shall we do here? Number one, I definitely like Selectman Glavy's suggestions to start thinking about time boxing certain things that we know are gonna end up on our priority list. So we could take a stab at that. What else can we do? Is that about it? Schedule the preliminary goal setting?
Well, Keith had some thoughts on schedule.
Well, I thought that since we have regular meetings on certain dates, on certain Mondays, maybe we'd want to pick one of the off, again, try to pick one of the off Mondays. The next one is August 1st. We have a meeting next Monday night, July 25th. It's full. August 8th, while it's not full yet, I know that Chuck's not going to be, I've heard from Chuck that he's not going to be there on August 8th.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about I frankly don't know about other availability on other nights. I'm planning to go away the week of the, August 15th now that Al Gore is going to pay for my
Congratulations.
flight and hotel.
Is he really?
So, yeah.
Awesome.
About your
Not
carbon
personally.
footprint.
I don't know
Keith.
why I
my
didn't
com-
ask that
yeah, I know,
question.
we feel so guilty about it, yeah. But we keep flying off to these remote locations anyway. Who the hell goes to, well, you go to Texas, Houston.
Don't even get me
You go to
started.
Houston,
I
Texas.
feel like I don't go anywhere but Houston.
But in August, really?
It's the worst.
So maybe
My
August,
glasses will fog
maybe
up.
August 1st
Yeah,
would be good. I still don't I still don't have from Chuck or Jim any particular suggestions. I think it would be if we had from all five then we have a higher, what I try to do when I get the input from each of the members is then try to take those and then draft something in the proposed column that reflects the input that all 5 members have given. And maybe that can, we can get closer to that. Maybe we can make some progress at a meeting time.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I won't repeat everything I said last week. I attempted to do that in the memo here, but I just, you're already onto the first key point that, is not captured in the matrix. The matrix properly hits on the specific issues, but the process of making sure we actually deal with them is, I think, something we ought to give some thought to. You're right, time boxing it, and as discussed last week, I incorrectly listed it as 6 items, or actually turned out I've promptly listed 7 after saying there were 6, but those are items that, in my estimation, we've talked about a lot, and they have, seems like a consensus that we want to deal with them at some level, and some of them are timely for the fall special town meeting. So whether it's next meeting on the 25th, or the 1st, or whatever our 2 previously scheduled August meetings are, as many of those topics as we can get in some formal review during those meetings for decision-making, or at least determining what we have to do to make a decision. Those are my suggestions, but
I think for the meetings between August 5th and the 22nd, that we could probably program most of these.
Right.
I'm not sure we get all.
Right.
But I think we could have agenda items on a number of them.
And I agree, too, that,
With
we
joint
probably
meetings.
shouldn't kick off until we get Jim and Chuck's input
Yeah.
as well. And so maybe you can put a prod into them.
Sure,
Madam
I'd be
Chair.
happy to.
One other thing is I noticed amongst, various little typos and things, with the program I was citing on the second page is City Stat, which I'm sure you have
Yes,
some
yep,
familiarity with. I don't know
Little
if it's
bit,
applicable
yeah.
here or not, but at least I would like to see us take a look at it, and that's kind of
Yeah, I
a,
did send that off when you sent it, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 4, I know that it was the Collins Center or someone was dealing with those.
right, American
Yeah.
Progress org is another one.
Yeah, but using numbers to make decisions.
Some
yeah.
towns do it. I know, what's his name, used to be mayor of Amesbury, was very big on that. He's now up at Devon's.
Thatcher
Keyser,
Keyser,
yeah. I don't want to do it if it's just a showpiece, but if there's some value in it, and what we're talking about here is the notion of, using statistical analysis on, it can be used, and there's a lot of models from department to department, just to see what your perception is versus the reality, and the amount of activity, the amount of time spent, amount of money spent, and where your priorities are going versus where they ought to be going. So, we're not going to exhaust or even touch that conversation tonight, but that wouldn't be one of the timely issues, but that's something I hope later on in the year we can look at.
Yeah, and maybe one thing we can do is pluck out like the timely ones
Right.
and then focus on in the next few weeks on those, and
Right.
then and Keith and I talked too. An idea that we had was when we set our goals, say we have 10 of them, maybe once we pick one goal a month to then make sure we get an update on that goal, and the time sensitive ones would obviously make sense to schedule up front. So you're headed in the same direction that we were actually. So that's
Good.
perfect.
I mean, I think maybe we ought to have a line in our agenda each week. Just do we have anything to update on our
Our
goals?
goals. We talked about that too. Yeah, we should be checking in
As soon
more
as you have
regularly.
goals.
Yes, we will check
We
in
will
on
have
them.
goals updated.
But I mean, it's,
I can update
it's-
you on
Yeah,
last
yeah,
year's.
like a
Right,
project
right.
manager.
I looked at last year's goals and said, darn, they're still good. We've made progress, but
They're pretty good goals. But you're right, we should have a regular pulse,
right,
not just like.
shame ourselves into it.
Yeah,
That's it.
totally.
I'm wondering if we, in terms of even rescheduling this, if we should put that on next week's agenda, on our regular meeting on the 25th, so that hopefully if all 5 of you are there, that
Right.
you can then agree on what the date is for our next I don't know that we'll have a full board on any date that we pick tonight.
Yeah, and I'm, even if I'm the one who misses one, I don't care, as long as we're moving forward.
Yeah.
But I do think it's imperative, if we are gonna discuss it next week, to get Chuck and Jim to chime in.
Yeah.
Even if they just sign off and said, I'm okay with what I
you
said
guys
last
said.
year,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay.
Sounds like a good job for the chair.
That's right.
The
Wait.
staff only has limited ability to nag.
Oh, I've already done it as we were sitting.
Okay,
good.
good.
I'm already texting them.
We can try, but, you know, the leadership,
You can gently guide, but I can
come on, guys.
take a different tactic. Okay, so things that we may see coming up in November town meeting are the time-sensitive things. There may be exceptions to that, but,
Yeah, like
fire station.
Fire station project.
Yeah,
Athletic
financing.
fields.
Yeah,
Athletic fields for sure.
Perhaps the sewer.
Yeah, perhaps the sewer, that's,
Even in terms of how you spend your agenda time,
yeah, that was
you know, updates on fire station and alumni field, I mean, we really, you know, to even agree right now, those need to be on, you know, like the August 8th agenda, which
Yeah.
our first
Yeah.
regular meeting in August.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too soon for,
No, I think that's
to
exactly
say-
what we're saying.
In a couple of these, the last two, at least from my list, they don't even need to dominate a lot of the board's agenda time. The financial policies subcommittee is just simply a process of Madam Chair contacting Fred and, you know, getting the Fin guy, wish he'd stuck
Yeah,
around.
yeah, and do we have, let's see, and we've got our members assigned to that working group, or is that up for?
We didn't do that
Wasn't-
yet, although I'll show interest. I don't think we made those appointments.
No, it has been Jim and,
Paul,
was it?
yeah,
Is that what it is?
Okay,
BJ.
okay,
Yeah.
that's right. too.
most recently. anyway.
Well, a swap for a Paul makes really good sense, consistency.
I'm interested in that, but I would, you know, in case somebody else is interested, I would.
Not I, dear sir. And I
like to
think you have
have
the
that-
skills for it. Mr. Knox?
Well, I've been-
Financial policies?
Clay's
He's the
really
guy,
good.
right?
Yeah, but that's, you know, it's good to get everybody involved, and that's
Yeah.
why, but I just as soon have a full board,
Make those.
Yeah,
okay.
sure. Okay. Yeah, those, let's target for the 8th or around there. I guess that's the only option, is the 8th or the 22nd, yeah. Okay, focus on those then. And then we can time box the rest of them when we're together.
I mean, next week, I mean, we could do things like Keith had just suggested, like the fire station and the field things, they're both underway. It won't take much to get an update on those, and we can incorporate a discussion.
Is it, and on fire, or maybe it both is the same question, is it an update though, or more to your point, a determined finance plan?
I think on the fire station, that's the big outstanding
Yeah,
decision.
I think so.
you
It would
know.
be good to know, I mean, from our recent discussions, I know that, and while the board has not taken a different vote, that the staff's of the understanding that the fire station is within the levy limit,
Right.
and then any other projects are outside. But we haven't had that vote since the cost of the fire station went from 7 to 9 million. Much less whatever the cost of all the other projects are.
Right.
So at some point, the ability to say, some projects get a pass and don't need a ballot question, but others do, but all others do that fall beyond, it would I think it would certainly be well to have that vote.
Yeah, as
We
well-
haven't had the vote.
I haven't changed my mind of where I'm coming down on it,
Yeah.
but I do know facts on the ground have changed, and it's appropriate to have it on the table. Let everybody say their piece.
I'd agree, totally agree.
I
And we
would,
could-
I would
so we
suggest we
got
do that
FinCom.
on the 8th of August. I'd suggest we get these updates on the fire station and athletic field, only because I know the PMBC is working on them, and I think we need to give them more than a few days advance notice to come back.
That makes sense.
So if we do August 8th, also, Bonnie's on
But
vacation
Chuck can give
next
us an
week.
update on what
Yeah.
that group's been doing. I just want to make sure we don't get too far down that road before
Yeah.
we start picking up the other pieces on it. And that might be something that when we engage the finance committee on the policies about, I mean, part of it is about structure of the,
Well, the others, I mean, since we're talking about big, building projects,
Yep.
there's the library, and
Right.
that the suggestion at the last library subcommittee meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago was that a next step should be a joint meeting of all of the
Right.
boards. And I think we still need to do that.
Yeah, that's my
And-
pending action. I need to
You know,
send an email.
yeah,
That's me.
and largely because a lot of the, a lot of the questions that any one board might have, while those are instructive for that board reaching its own conclusion, that may or may not determine whether the project proceeds or
Right,
not. If all of the boards aren't on the same page about what,
Yeah, I think that's very important.
So getting
They
those
put a lot
boards
of time
together,
into it.
yeah.
I've stated my skepticism, for want of a better word, as to the need and to whether or not the decisions to eliminate the options of building onto the existing building have been met. And so, I welcome the joint meeting as soon as we can put it together.
Now, on the fire station one, and I'm wrapping it back to this, do we need FinCom in that discussion as well? Because I'm wondering, on the 8th,
Sure.
are we,
Oh, yeah.
are
Yeah,
are we starting to
for
build
the-
a cross-board
well-
meeting on the 8th anyway? So throw
well,
library
yeah.
in there? No, yes, no.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure. Fire station, alumni field, library are
Yeah.
probably,
All those
they
financial
have,
topics.
Yeah.
well, what they have in common is that,
Money.
Yeah.
that they're all in the millions and
Right,
that
big
they
projects
are
coming at the same time.
all getting paid for from the same
Full
trough,
month,
so.
right.
Since we mentioned the library, I mean, my verbiage here was in the context of prioritizing projects, because they haven't been as
Yes.
loud, but the senior center folks have been,
Very vocal.
getting more so now. They're learning, and they, properly should.
Absolutely.
So we have to start making decisions about, does everything have merit, and do we all go forward with it? And then, and then if not, to what extent do we, are we talking about renovation projects? Are we talking about new construction? There's a lot of stuff out there.
This
I think it would make sense to, if we had if we offered August 8th, it's our regular meeting, let's offer
Yep.
that as the joint boards meeting.
Me too, yep.
With FinCom, with PNBC, with.
Library.
Library,
Yep.
to school committee, I mean, the
Park
other.
and Rec for that
Park and
matter.
Rec, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It'd be a big old party.
All right.
You
So,
in town, Mr. Knox?
I intend to be, yeah.
You already had a fun vacation, didn't you? You already had a fun vacation.
Yeah, they go away on August too, so.
Oh, you don't? All right.
I have to say, I am on vacation next week, and it is my boyfriend's birthday on Monday night, but I will still be here, so.
Wow.
Shout out to John. So, okay, good, then we can do that, shoot, I lost my
So
train of
on
thought.
August 8th.
Oh, yeah, will you send?
Monday, August 8th, we'll do joint boards meeting regarding fire station, alumni field, and library with all the boards that we just mentioned.
That's perfect. So are you gonna help with the coordination of that between the boards, Keith?
Yes, I'll follow that up.
Thank you, and
then
I know I need
for-
to send a note still.
And that also for next Monday night, the 25th of July, we will then take up the matter of rescheduling tonight's goal
Okay,
setting
yes,
once we
please,
have all the
yes.
members present.
Okay, that gets our time-sensitive stuff on the table.
Yep.
Buys Jim and Chuck a little more time to provide input into the goals.
Be nice if they had it by next Monday.
Yep.
I
Yep.
thought I was gonna be late.
You were first, man.
I was first,
Bless
yeah,
you.
but I was jamming it on a Friday night or Thursday night to get it done.
I got the memo in late, Keith, but I appreciate if we could put that in the minutes or wherever we
Yes, it will
appropriately
be.
do, so
Yeah,
people
sure
can,
will.
want to take a look at it.
Yep.
That's good input. Thanks, Paul. Okay, so no motion then, right?
Nope, no motions. I'm just recording that you'll vote on the 25th to reschedule preliminary goal setting for future meeting, and that the selectmen are rescheduling the joint boards meeting for Monday, August 8th regarding fire station, alumni field, and library with,
So you're not anticipating any discussion time next week on the goal setting, or just the,
I'll put it at the end, and then we'll see how well we did with the rest of the
I
agenda.
just hate to limit ourselves. I know we wanted to devote enough time to it, but if Chuck and Jim have either chimed in or not, and it looks like we've got a
If you reach the consensus, I mean, again, if we can get the information before the meeting, then the higher likelihood that we could walk into the
Right.
meeting with a list that reflects all members' input.
I mean, my
In which
read on that
case you
so
could-
far is I didn't have any dispute with what
Yeah.
other people have already come up with.
Yeah,
me either.
I- You know, it's,
Yeah, I thought it was good stuff.
I think we're on the same page,
Yeah.
just getting
Yeah.
it done is, you know.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion, board?
Nope.
All right, I'd look for. a
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yay, thank you very much.